that does want to compete and make it a lifelong kind of thing.
So, I mean, the final days are the most important part of a contest, so you've got to experiment ahead of time. As far as your diet, I mean, I can't tell you exactly what to do. I mean, if you look great and you're real conditioned the week before the contest, and you're not retaining a lot of fluid, and you're really shredded, then you may not want to do anything different. If you're a bodybuilder who you're fighting the clock a little bit, and you want to carb deplete, carb load, you may have to do that. Linda, I'm sure, doesn't have to do that, but she still carb depletes and carb loads, and it works wonderful for her. So, again, I can't tell you exactly what you should do the last few days, but if you're pleased with the way you look a week out, then I probably suggest not changing too much, unless you've experimented with it. I mean, if you've experimented with carb loading, carb depleting, fat loading, sodium loading, whatever that may be, then fine. But if you haven't experimented with it and you look good a week before the show, then you may not want to change anything in your diet the last few days. The day of the contest, make sure when you leave for the show, you bring your posing suit, you bring some spare towels, you bring whatever food you're going to need for the day. Make sure your music is cued. Bring an extra set of suits. Just pack whatever you need ahead of time, because lots of times the day of the contest you're a little brain dead.
Right.
And I know Derek, he'll be over in a minute. I brought him to Maine and he left his cooler in his car. He rode up with me and he left it in Pawtucket. And then just have everything prepared, packed away before you have to leave, and bring plenty of food with you. Whatever you may be needing. You're going to need some protein, some carbs. I mean, if you want a simple sugar in the pump-up room or some fruit or whatever it may be, bring what you need. Bring towels, because sometimes if some shows don't have a lot of pump-up equipment, you can get a good workout just doing basic push-ups, pull-ups, get a couple long towels. You can do pulley rows with a towel. You can do triceps, biceps with a towel. You can do isometric side laterals, whatever it may be, but not every pump-up room has a lot of equipment, so be prepared to be able to get a pump in the pump-up room in case you can't get any equipment, which is very seldom, especially NABF. Most of our pump-up rooms are pretty good. But you should always be prepared, because it may happen. All right, I think we're going to talk to a couple of the other bodybuilders, and then we're going to stop posing. Well, we're back again. I wanted to introduce a few more of our champions. We're going to talk to them a few minutes, and then we're going to get right into the mandatory poses. On my right is Jean-Dominique St. Paul. He's from Massachusetts also. He's a 1997 Master Heavyweight Champion. And last year he won many titles. I think he won the Rhode Island and many other titles. How many years have you been competing, John?
I've been competing for 2 years.
2 years. And hopefully he'll get posed in a little while and you'll see a great physique. He's really won a lot of competitions in 2 years. And to my left is Kevin Topka. He's a junior national champion of 1997. Along with, this is his first year competing, and he finished first or second in the numerous amount of shows this season. He's got a great potential for a junior just turning 24, and you'll see Kevin around a lot in the next few years. And to his left is Derek Baudet from Massachusetts. Again, this is his first year competing. He won a couple of overall open championships, and he finished second in the bantamweight in the nationals this year, which the national winner was a York from Pennsylvania, and he was probably the biggest bantamweight I had ever seen in my life. Derek did very, very well, finishing second in the men's open amateur bantamweight class. Next season he'll definitely be a lightweight. He had been a lightweight this season, but he did a number of shows and he managed to make the bantamweight at the Pro-Am America on November 8th this season. So Jean, why don't you say a little bit about where you're from and how you get involved in bodybuilding?
I work out at Braintree Gold Plus, and I've been training there for around 5 years. Overall, I've been training for 10 years plus and competing for 2 years. Mm-hmm. And then I got started into bodybuilding, competing. Friend of mine, she was going to do fitness. She was Ruthie. She won here.
She won a Miss Fitness contestants.
Yeah, she got me started. And she kept asking me, why don't you do this show, that show.
And how old are you now, John?
I'm 39 right now.
39 again. He's at the master age. That's why he won the national master heavyweight but he also won a couple of overall open titles this past year.
Yes.
At the age of a master. So again, our master division has become one of the strongest divisions in most competitions. So just because you think you're 38, 40, 45, again, Linda is our national pro winner at the age of 48 years old. I think she started training in 1989. And then we've got Joe Summerall as a pro male winner, and he's 39. So the age really doesn't matter. So Kevin's got a cold right now.
Yeah.
Let's try to say a few things.
I've been training. I used to train just because I used to play football, so I just used to train to get bigger. So I started coming to Ocean State like 2 years ago, just working out. And then when Al took over, I was training one day, he came up to me and said, "Oh, you ever been thinking of doing bodybuilding?" I said, I'll try. And then he said, all right. He talked to me, give him a diet. He got a good diet plan. I thanked him for that. Put me on a diet. I did good my first show, but during that time before that was 8 months ago, I had a surgery. I was playing football, I blew my ligament, so I had an ACL done. And I was recovering like for 6 months. And then he told me, he said, "Oh, you got a good upper body, just go for it." And then the next season, you work out your leg and bring it up. So he put me on a diet, training. I went through it. My first show, I came in second, so I was surprised.
At the beginning of the season, he hooked Charlie Moss and Zeth in the light heavyweights, and then we put a few pounds on Kevin. He made him right at 194 at the heavyweight class, and he went ahead and won a couple of heavyweight titles in the open division. Again, this is his first year training, and he did have a knee surgery a year ago. He's brought his leg, even with that, he's brought his legs up a lot in one season.
Yep.
So next season, I mean, he's a junior national champion, only been competing the first year, and next season, you're going to see him very tough in the men's open heavyweights. And Derek?
Hi, I'm Derek. I've been training 7 years. Usually I train at home. Usually 3 months before a competition, I'll train here, Ocean State Fitness. I had some of Al's friends told me, that I should do a show, so I've came down and I've talking to Al. Really knows his stuff.
Derek used to work for me at Gold's Gym in Somerset, and he was a power lifter. I met him years ago. He competed in one of our bench press competitions. I think he was, at the time, probably around 140 pounds.
In the 130s.
130s, and he used to bench on command
Probably close to 3.5.
Yeah, about 350 at 130 pounds. On command, pause on the chest, lockout, and racket on command. He was probably the strongest person of 130 pounds I'd ever worked with. And I always knew he had great potential as being a natural bodybuilder. And this past year, he decided he was going to do it. And his first season, finished second into a very, very tough bantamweight, which was tied for the overall in the Pro-Am America. And he did win the Tri-State overall at the Tri-State, all in his first year, and he's competed in many shows. But he didn't take it serious. I mean, he did take it serious, but he got great genetics and good metabolism. But there's a couple of shows he thought he could get away with dieting just a few weeks, and he didn't do as well as he thought he should have done. But when he dieted for a little bit longer period of time, he's comes in very, very hot, very, very conditioned, and now he knows. I mean, it takes a few. You just can't decide in a couple of weeks to do a show and come in at your best. But when he takes it seriously, he's going to be a very, very, very tough lightweight, no matter where he competes next season. All right, we're going to break this down now. I'm going to go through some posing, and we'll just try to show you the right and the wrong way how to pose. Again, this is 3 weeks after the Pro-Am America, so it's too hard to ask these bodybuilders to stay on their diets. So they're not at the very best. They're still probably better than most, but don't expect them to be totally shredded because they have been enjoying themselves for about 3 weeks. So we're just going to get prepared now, and we'll be back in a minute, and we're going to go through all the mandatories. Thank you. Okay, we're back. We're going to start just going through some of the mandatory poses, just to show you the correct way to pose, and I'll ask a couple of the bodybuilders to maybe display their physiques in a way that we're not really accustomed to seeing on stage, so you can see the difference. All right, first we're going to do the symmetry. We'll do the 4 quarter turns. Then we don't have numbers on today, so if I call the contestant's name instead of number, they'll raise their hand and they'll change places like you would have to do on a stage. So again, this is 3 weeks after the Nationals. We're just talking about, we've all had a few pizzas, so again, but these are our best natural bodybuilders. Now you can notice, Zeth, raise your hand. Now that's the old-fashioned way of standing. Much better if he sweeps his knees out slightly. He's going to give him a much better sweep to the quad. And let's take a quarter turn to the right. A quarter turn to the right. And a quarter turn to the right. And face front. Okay, now I want to show you, I want you to see maybe the incorrect way to stand. Dave and Zeth, just stand with your feet completely together, no sweep to the quads. Again, that was more or less the old-fashioned way how they did it. If you have a slight bend to the knee, if you sweep your knees out, bend your knees slightly, sweep your quads out, it's going to give you much better symmetry. It's going to give you a nice physique coming down from into the lat to the waist, a V, and then you're Ving out at the bottom, and you're seeing a much better symmetrical physique. And usually what I tell people to do is slight bend to the knee, sweep the knees out, heels together, toes facing out, and come up out of the waist. You don't want to be turtleneck up out of the shoulder. You just want to pull your physique up out of the waist in a big, broad shoulder. Now let's take a quarter turn to the right. Now again, depending on the physique, I think it's more attractive if there's, you can have your feet together if you'd like. You can be up on the toe is fine also. If your legs are a little bit small, you might want to have one leg slightly in front of the other, so you're creating an illusion. You're seeing a little bit more thickness or a larger leg. A slight bend to the knee, your butt stuck out, arch your lower back, and up out of the waist with a big chest, squeezing your tricep and flexing your other bicep into your pectoral. All right, now in this case, Zeth, stand perfectly straight up. Put your arms right down. Now just bend your knee slightly, stick your butt out, arch your lower spine, and big chest. Flex your tricep. Now to me, that's a much better look than just standing upright with no flex whatsoever. It's not over flexing, but still being able to see how he's displaying his particular physique in symmetry. Quarter turn to the right. All right, this time, Kevin, stand straight with your legs straight together. Now, lots of times you'll see bodybuilders doing that with a rear pose. Now, if you bend, where he has a huge upper body and legs are a little bit smaller, but he has had knee surgery, and his legs have come up a lot this year, and they'll be a lot better next year. But if he puts his toes out slightly, heels together, knees swept out, stuck the butt out, arch your lower spine, up out of the waist, big broad shoulder, totally different physique. So, I mean, you need to display your physique properly. Whenever it's a rear pose, you want your heels together, toes slightly swept out, knees swept out, so you're creating an illusion and seeing a much better